Hello, this is Caleb Barney with Russell Real Estate, and today I wanted to go over a quick article from Keeping Current Matters. The title of it is called Today's Housing Market is Nothing Like 15 Years Ago. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up was because it's actually something I see pretty commonly discussed, whether it's in Facebook groups or Twitter forums or anything like that, where people are talking about a housing collapse being imminent. And that's not really the case. That's not what the statistics are pointing to, anyways. So basically, 2022 was a tale of two halves. The year started out with interest rates for a 30-year fixed rate being about 3.1% on average, and they actually peaked in late October, being between 7.25 and 7.5%. So interest rates more than doubled, and a lot of housing experts actually said that the national housing market went into a housing recession in the middle of June of last year. So things really started slowing down late October all the way through the new year, which is pretty typical, honestly, with seasonal adjustments and people not really wanting to move around Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and going into the dead of winter. But, just showing some statistics here to prove why we're not in the same economic cycle that helped to cause the '07, '08 housing market crisis. Here's what we're looking at as far as, okay, do we have any job cuts? Back then, there were actually 8 million job cuts in the housing cycle. Right now, there's none as far as an overall outlook of the economy. There's 20 million more jobs available, and because of the laws that were put into place, um, basically restricting loan officers, or not just loan officers, but lenders in general, on how they can let borrowers apply for loans and get accepted for loans or approved for loans. There's not really any subprime loans anymore. So you have to be a qualified borrower, whether it's a good credit score, good debt to income ratio. There's so many different hoops to jump through in order to buy a house now that people who do have houses are much more likely to be in a better financial position than they were back in '07, '08, and the years leading up to that. As far as new construction, there were a ton of houses being built, actually an oversupply of houses being built leading up to that housing crash. And as a result of that, a lot of builders got burned, and they really did not get back to building a ton of new construction. So that was actually all 15 years leading up to what we were at in 2022. They look at previous 5 years combined from '08, so basically 2003 to 2008 versus what we're looking at for 2017 to 2022, and we're 3 million new construction homes short. For inventory, there was an oversupply of houses on the market back then too. There were nearly 4 million houses available nationally at any given time for sale, whereas now we're between 1 and 1.2 million. So we're basically at a quarter of what we were before. Mortgage delinquency, meaning basically people in pre-foreclosure or or about to get foreclosed on. We were at 10.1% back in the day, whereas we're at a third of that right now with 3.6%. And then for actual houses in foreclosure, you could see there are 4.6 houses in foreclosure back then versus zero point 0.6 right now. So overall, when you're looking at houses in foreclosure and mortgage delinquency, back then you were at 14.7% of all households were either behind on their mortgage payment or already in foreclosure, whereas right now we're at 4.2%. So over 10% fewer houses that are in trouble there. So that's where this housing market really is nothing like the housing market previously. Now, here's where I actually disagree with one thing, and it's not that the article pointed it out, they cherry picked a quote from David Stevens, who is the former Assistant Secretary of Housing, and he said, "So be advised, this may be the one and only window for the next few years to get into a buyer's market. And remember, as the Federal Reserve data shows, home prices only go up and always recover from recessions, no matter how mild or severe. Long-term homeowners should view this market right now as a unique buying opportunity." So for me, the part that I don't know if I fully agree with, and like he's speaking on a long enough time horizon where yes, home prices do always go up on a long enough time horizon, but and that is something that we should all be looking at as home buyers or homeowners. It's not a short term thing. So if you buy a home this year and it goes down in value, quote unquote, next year, just know that it doesn't always go up linearly. But if you're holding the home and you plan on living there for 5, 10, 30 years, then yes, the home prices are going to go up. Second thing is, at least in my market, it's not a buyer's market. So I serve the Cleveland, Ohio area. So all of Medina County, most of Cuyahoga County, parts of Lorain and Summit County as well. And then I do stretch out into Wayne and Stark and different counties as well. But that being said, a lot of the areas that I serve still have very little supply and are still considered to be in sellers markets. It's just not anything like it was back in 2020 and 2021. I do agree with him that there is a small window right now because interest rates have actually dropped. So I mentioned they were between 7.25 and 7.5% in the end of October of 2022. Well, as of this recording on January 12th, interest rates are at about 6.15% on average for a 30-year fixed. So it's dropped pretty considerably. And the CPI inflation data just came out at 6.5%, which is about what was expected from many of the forecasters. So we shouldn't see a big uptick in interest rates, and we might actually see a slight downtick in interest rates over the next couple of weeks. So to me, if you are looking to buy and you're in a good financial position, I would consider now as being a good time to buy because there are just fewer buyers out there. As opposed to waiting till the spring or waiting until interest rates drop considerably, which you might be waiting for a while there, but that's when everybody else is going to jump into the market as well. So I do think it is a unique buying opportunity right now, but you do need to think of it in the long run, basically. So don't think of this as I'm going to flip a house, I'm going to get rich quick. But if you're buying a house for the long term, you should be in a good spot. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd be more than happy to talk, whether it's just generally about real estate or if you have specific questions about the Cleveland all the way to Akron market, basically. I'd be more than happy to talk and have a great day.